Uploading Nerdigans is the one and only Packer Girl 89, and today's book Nerdigan video is on Wildefire by Karsten Knight. I don't know why I said white. It's Knight, Karsten Knight. I'm sorry, Karsten, I love you. And I love this series as a whole, and this is going to be the time, like the next few books that I'm reading, or actually a good chunk, probably the rest of my Book Nerdigan series, will be all individual books, because these are like the hashtag hidden gems that no one seems to give any love to, but I will, because I love them. So, I love Wildefire. I love how it starts out when Ash is getting her revenge on Lizzie Jacobs. I thought that was bomb. I love that she kicked Rich in the nuts. And it's kind of ironic she became a tennis player. But I really like the part when they're in Blackwood. I know I'm skipping parts. Well, maybe I shouldn't skip the part where Eve totally shows up on her Nighthawk and gets her punches in and stuff, and Lizzie loses a tooth, and she's like, "Where's my tooth?" I thought that was funny. And then Eve, you know, because Lizzie and her hockey pals decide to graffiti Ash's place, she confronts Lizzie on the roof, and they try to make peace, and then Eve just kills her, and Lizzie becomes Ghost Nappa of the series. If you don't know what Ghost Nappa is, go watch DPC Abridged. So, I love Ash's wit, but Ash is like totally Leo. She is. She's Leo's long-lost cousin. I'm sorry, I have to say it, Karsten. She is. I love it when they're getting their getaway from the sheriff in the bar, because and he's trying to speak back to Blackwood, and they all get in Lily's car, and Rolf jumps in the car because he started the distraction, and he says to Raja while he's on her lap, he says, "This year, Santa, I'd like a pony and an easy bake oven." And then Raja said, "You'll be getting coal in a place where it hurts if you ever attempt to sit on my lap again." And it was like, it reminded me of Percabeth. It totally did. Like, Percy and Annabeth would totally do something like that, for sure. And, let's see. I love Ash's wit, because even when she's in the mistress's office and she was, you know, the headmistress said, if she's a comedian or whatever, Ash says, "I mostly do weddings and bar mitzvahs," and it made me sound like, it reminded me of Percy and Leo. It totally did. There's so much wit. I love her mouth. Her mouth is so funny. I want to be a smart ass like that too. Wish I could come up with that shit on the fly, but whatever. I love that when she's sitting with Jackie, and Jackie is talking about Bobby, because before all this happened, Ash threw an alarm clock at Bobby, which was really, really, it was funny. It was a funny scene, because Bobby was trying to get in her pants, and she wasn't having it. And Jackie says, "All of Bobby's friends think he's douche," and then Ash says, "If it walks like a duck," and I started laughing. And let's get to the next part. This is like, if you've read the book, you know about Serena there was the attempted kidnapping on Serena, and everyone, and you know, they aid Raja, Rolf, and Lily, and Ash heard her scream, because she can tune, because she's a Greek siren, she can tune her frequencies to only affect demigods, which I thought was cool, and that's important, especially in Afterglow. And so we see the backstories of these demigods, and we have Aid, and I feel bad for Aid, because Aid was abused by his mom, and he ended up killing his mom's lover in the church. He like literally used an earthquake to bring the church down. It was pretty cool. I love Rolf. He's awesome. Or not Rolf. I love Rolf. I love it. Aid's story is really sad. Rolf's story is pretty badass, and I love what he says, because Biscuit was totally gelling on Rolf's swagger, especially with the ladies, because Rolf is totally a pimp. And Rolf says to Biscuit, he said, Let's start with the fact that they call you Biscuit. Maybe she doesn't want to have children who sound like they're fresh from the fucking bakery. I was like, yes. That was a total Percy moment. It totally was. And Raja's story is so sad and so creepy because, you know, she's been in and out of foster care, and Raja's foster dad died, and she actually brought her dad back to life, and it was to the point where she had to stop it because she didn't want to remember that. And then when they try to get into Ash's memories, we see who we find out to be Ash's and Eve's sister. So, that's crazy. So, Rolf had a Leo moment, / Percy moment, when he says, Serena is about to give out the scrolls, and Rolf says, scrolls? You brought us scrolls? What are you, Moses? I was like, I started cracking up. I was like, that is a total Percy Leo moment. They would say that. They would. And Karsten, I'm sorry. I have to do it. It must be said. So anyway, let's get to the true names of the reborn gods and goddesses. And they're all from different cultures, which I totally love, because I'm reading Starcrossed by Josephine Angelini right now. I hope I said her last name right. Sorry, Josephine, if I said it wrong. And that's strictly Greek. And we have, and then obviously I read Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus, which is Greek and Roman. And and the Embrace series is Hebrew mythology, angel mythology, and what was the other series I was thinking of? And King Chronicles is Egyptian, but this is a little bit of everything. So we have Ade, who is Shango, the Zulu god of thunder. We have Lily, who's Konohana, who's the Shinto goddess of the blossom. Oh yeah, and I've read a lot of Norse mythology books too, like the Starling Saga by Leslie Livingston, and I will be doing a book nerdigan video on that, and the Wonder Strange trilogy at some point. I need to review them though first. And then we have Rolf, who's Baldur, the Norse god, father of justice, god of light. Basically a combination of Percy and Jason in the sense. Maybe, because Percy is totally justice. He's totally the father. Well, maybe I should say Rolf is more like Jason, but with Percy's attitude. There we go. And then Raja is Isis, the Egyptian goddess of the dead. And Raja is pretty badass. Don't take the goddess of the dead for nothing. Like, she can age you. It's pretty crazy. And so the next part I'm going to talk about is when they're heading out to the forest before the big fight scene in the forest. And Rebel Forest, and it was when they're wearing their orange jumpsuits because they got caught. And, you know, everyone, and they're walking across the quad at Blackwood, and you know, they were calling them random things like tangerines and shit. And one kid calls them Fruit of the Loom. And I'm just like, what? That's as random as Jason saying I hate Wonder Bread. Yes, it had to be said. So let's talk about the fighting scene. Alright, so the cool thing with the fighting scene was against the mercenaries. I thought it was the best and the most creepy part was when Raja aged Wolf like 40, 50 years, and then Lily buried him alive. That was really creepy. It totally was. And then later on, afterwards, they went back. This is when Ash went to the church, and we find out she's an adopted Jew, and that makes me happy because I'm a Jew. Hashtag Jew swagger. Hashtag Jew crew for life. Hashtag Jew club for life. And she says in the church, because I've thought that too, and a lot of my non-Jewish friends said this to me. I'm not going to burn in flames for being here. I'm Jewish. And then we find out later on that what Eve says is that gods are reborn every century or so without memories of their past lives, basically reincarnated as themselves with a clean slate, which is really important. And that ends up coming into play, especially in Afterglow. We find out Ash is Pele, the goddess of volcanoes, the Polynesian goddess of volcanoes, and we've also found out after that Roja is totally a thing. We have Rolf and Lily. So we have Cash, hashtag Cash, which is Colton Ash, and then we have Roja, hashtag Roja, which is Rolf and Lily. And then there's a burn on Lily too, and I love this line, and you men need to say this line to bitches. Which is, better a dead in the sheets than a bitch who never had a chance. I was like, yep. That has got to be a good line. And then we have, and we find, and Lily was always quiet, and it's always the quiet ones you gotta watch out for, and Lily proved that, because she's a fucking psycho bitch. And we find out that Jack is the cloak, because Ash walked in and saw that Jack was talking to Serena, and Serena mentioned that it was Jack. And the cloak is a big deal, especially in the next couple of books. And yeah. And let's see. Oh, and then when we get to the dance, that scene is so intense. So we find out Colt gets kidnapped, but Ash didn't think he was kidnapped. She thought that he just stood her up. So she was dancing with Bobby, and she was totally drunk. And after she got some air, like, Lily came in and killed Rolf. With a mistletoe spear or something like that. And this is important because Rolf mentioned to Ash earlier in the book that he did research on Baldur, and that's how Baldur actually died, was getting speared in the heart. And I was like thinking, Lily, you bitch, why must you smite Rolf? Hashtag R.I.P. Rolf. And hashtag and this is the end of hashtag Roja. And I love what Raja did, because we get to see her aging powers again, and it totally worked on Lily as well. She aged the hell out of Lily. Like, she aged her, like, 30 years, I think it was. So Lily was in her 40s. Like, late 40s. And I was so happy about that. And then we have the scene where Ash takes on the tsunami and basically turns all the water into steam. That was awesome. That was an awesome scene, because Colt was kidnapped and she was saving both of them. Turns out Colt didn't need to be saved. Stupid fucking asshole Colt. I can't stand Colt! And, what was the other thing that happened? And Eve gets taken away by the cloak, because Eve had too many chances. And then, what was really sad was when Ash and Raja were spreading Rolf's ashes, and they spread it, I think she said they spread them on, spread them in the forest. If I'm wrong, please correct me. And I know they spread it into the ocean, because Rolf loved the ocean, and they spread it on Rolf's surfboard and sent the surfboard on the ocean. That was so sad. Like, I was crying the first time when I read that. It so many feels. And then we find out Raja is preggers with Rolf's baby. And we know she's going to keep the baby. She kind of has to, because, because Rolf died, and it keeps Rolf's legacy going. And then we find out, because, Ash wanted to go to Canada to find Blank and the leader of Eve's group and all that, and find the other gods and goddesses there. They get in an accident, and Colt comes up unharmed. He's, like, instantly healing. And the last line in the book is, Colt says that he is Kokopelli, or better known as Blink. So I really love this book. I didn't talk about everything in this book, because otherwise the video would be really long. It's already 13-minute mark. So if you've read Wildefire, I want to know what you think about this book, because personally I love this book. And please like, please share, please comment, please subscribe. And then follow me on Twitter. As of January 30th, I'm on book number 19. Yes, I read really fast. And until I will see you in Embers and Echoes. Until next time, book nerdigans, keep reading on.